Tieu Uyen was used to waking up early, used to scarcity, and even more used to managing everything on her own. Uyen wasn't one to complain, because she understood that complaining wouldn't make life any easier. Near Uyen's house lived Han, a young mother who, every day, carried her small child, Tom, silently searching for a father for her child and a job that would provide enough for the two of them to live on. And then there was the An, a man with the title of CEO. But when he arrived, he was no different from an ordinary neighbor, quietly helping, without fanfare or ostentation. That morning, the An came to Uyen's house again. The day before, he had helped install electricity, and today he returned simply because Uyen's old fan wouldn't work anymore. That fan had been with Uyen for many years, making a rattling noise whenever it spun, as if it would stop at the slightest touch. The An bent down to check, adjusted the cord, and tried turning the switch a few times, but the fan only vibrated slightly before stopping. Uyen stood beside him, her hands clasped together, her eyes filled with apprehension. "Can you fix it? I'm afraid it's broken." Her voice held not only worry about the fan, but also the familiar fear of the poor, the fear of having to replace it, the fear of incurring an extra expense beyond their means. The An looked at the fan for a long time, then gently shook his head. "It's probably very weak. It's been used for too long. Let me take it to a shop to have it checked. If it's broken, I'll buy you a new one." That statement startled Uyen. She quickly waved her hand, almost reflexively. "No, An. Buying a new fan is too expensive. I can fan myself at night." Uyen spoke quickly, as if afraid the An would have time to decide. In her heart, accepting more help always made her feel guilty. The An remained silent, looking at Uyen for a moment. He understood her type, accustomed to being taken advantage of, accustomed to saving every penny, and always afraid of bothering others. He didn't say anything more, just smiled softly, letting the conversation flow smoothly. Uyen quickly went out to buy bread and make milk. The small kitchen quickly warmed up with the steam from the boiling water. That morning's breakfast was so simple that there was nothing remarkable about it. A few loaves of bread, a glass of hot milk. But in the small house, it brought a rare sense of contentment. The two sat opposite each other, eating in silence for a while, only listening to the wind blowing across the porch. The An broke the silence with a light joke. "I was planning to come for instant noodles today, but I didn't expect to be treated to bread dipped in milk." Uyen smiled shyly, her eyes showing a hint of embarrassment. "We're out of noodles at home. You can have that for now." "Anything is fine," the An replied. "The important thing is having someone to eat with." That remark made Uyen pause for a moment. It had been a long time since she'd felt someone to share the little things in life with. After eating, the An looked around the house, then suddenly remembered something. "I haven't seen Han today, Uyen." Uyen sighed softly, her gaze directed outside. "They left at dawn, An. She took little Tom to look for a job, and also to find a father for him." At this point, Uyen's voice softened. The image of Han carrying her child, silently walking through the sun and rain, appeared vividly in her mind. A young, thin but strong mother who never allowed herself to be weak in front of her child. "I feel so sorry for them," Uyen said softly. "They're always so busy like that, and I can't help them at all." The An pondered, I told Han to stay here the other day. I also asked someone in the Hoa Phu commune's riverside area to help inquire. If there's any news, I'll let Han know immediately. Even though she knew the hope was slim, Uyen still nodded. For people like Han, even a small glimmer of hope is enough to keep going. Speaking of making a living, Uyen suddenly realized she still didn't have a stable job. There, I noticed the hesitation in her eyes. The other day I passed by and saw a lot of water coconuts. How about we go pick some today? Uyen was a little surprised, but then nodded. Yes, that would be fine. The trip began under the scorching sun. The journey was long, requiring a car ride followed by a boat ride. Uyen was worried because she had never rowed a boat before. I don't know how to row a boat, An. Theron chuckled. I've forgotten how to row too. That made Uyen laugh. Her worries lessened a little. The small boat slowly glided across the shallow water, mud clinging to the oars, their arms aching. They searched for a long time before finding a few remaining bunches of water coconuts. Ants swarmed their hands. Their clothes were dirty, but they both persevered. It's fun to go harvesting once in a while, isn't it, An? Uyen said, her voice tinged with weariness, but also joy. Yes, it was tiring but fun, Theron replied. Late afternoon, the embankment gradually became busier as people returned from work, their weary footsteps and familiar sighs filling the air. An and Uyen's small boat docked in the sunlight, which had softened considerably compared to midday. A few bunches of coconuts were neatly arranged on the boat, not many, but enough to bring Uyen a sense of relief. For her, it wasn't just the result of a day's work, but also the feeling of not having to face everything alone for the first time in many long days. In front, Han and little Tome had also just returned. Han placed her old bag on the floor, sweat still clinging to her forehead. Another day had passed without any news of her missing father. The familiar feeling of disappointment welled up again, but Han didn't allow herself to show it. She bent down to wipe Tome's face, trying to smile, as if everything was all right. Uyen saw the mother and son and quickly called out, "Tom, come here and watch Aunt Uyen peel coconuts." That call made the atmosphere suddenly warmer. Little Tom toddled over, his eyes curiously looking at the unfamiliar coconuts. Han stood behind, a little surprised. "Is this what a coconut looks like, Uyen? I thought coconuts were full of water." Uyen chuckled, her weariness dissipating somewhat. "No, Han. They're called coconuts because they grow underwater." As she spoke, Uyen carefully peeled each coconut. The hard outer shell separated, revealing the white flesh inside. Han watched intently, like a child seeing something new for the first time. For her, these simple things sometimes became a rare comfort amidst a life full of worries. "Back home, we only have regular coconuts," Han said, her voice softening. "Now that I'm here, I see coconuts like this." Theron stood beside her, helping Uyen crack open the coconuts. Coconut water isn't meant to be drunk straight. It tastes better when mixed. The three of them worked together, each doing their part. Uyen washed the coconut flesh, Han prepared the water, and Theron neatly arranged the coconut shells to one side. No one spoke much, but in that space, a quiet bond was forming. Uyen instructed Han on how to make coconut water. Put the coconut flesh into the water, add a little sugar, stir well, and then add ice. It's very simple, but it's very refreshing. Hun followed along, her hands somewhat clumsy but full of concentration. When the glass of coconut water was ready, she gave it to little Tome first. Uyen bent down and gently fed Tome spoonfuls of coconut flesh. The child giggled, his mouth covered in water, making all three of them laugh along. At that moment, Hun felt a lump in her throat. It had been a long time since she had felt such a complete sense of family, even if only temporarily. No one asked about finding her father. No one mentioned money or work. Only the laughter of children and the sweet, refreshing taste of coconut water soothed the soul. The aunt stood up and brought in a new fan. "I bought a fan for you, Uyen." Uyen was startled and quickly waved her hand. "I told you already. Why did you buy one? It's a waste of money." The aunt looked at little Tom sitting on the chair. "A fan will keep Tom cooler. Children can't stand the heat." That statement silenced Uyen. She understood that the aunt's concern wasn't just for her, but for everyone around her. She didn't say anything more, just nodded, a feeling of both gratitude and guilt rising in her heart. Meanwhile, in a completely different place, the atmosphere was the opposite. Bin held the phone, his cold voice echoing in the enclosed room. "Hello, why are you calling me today?" On the other end was Fu. Bin got straight to the point. "Mr. Chin owes me 50 million. Can you help me collect it?" Fu was silent for a moment before replying. "I went to demand it last time, but he said he didn't have the money." Bin sneered. "I don't care. In 3 days, either pay the money or we'll take Uyen." The words rang out dryly, without a hint of hesitation. To Bin, people were now just numbers and tools to achieve his goals. He continued, "I'll transfer 10 million to you first. This must be done." Fu hesitated, but finally replied, "Okay, brother." The call ended, leaving a heavy silence. Here, people were calculating, threatening, and preparing for cruel actions. Meanwhile, on the embankment, Uyen, Hun, and little Tome were still sitting together, drinking cool coconut water, completely unaware that their peace was being threatened. The sun gradually set behind the trees, the twilight casting a pale yellow glow over the small house. Little Tom's laughter echoed in the peaceful space, a fragile reminder that good things still exist. But somewhere, in the darkness that was slowly descending, undercurrents were beginning to stir, signaling inevitable events.